Roger Gustafson, Bishop of the Central State Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and this is a brief introduction to the upcoming Synod Assembly, June 6 through 8 in Overland Park, Kansas. Here's some context. The Evangelical Lutheran Church in America is one church in three expressions: congregations and ministries organized into geographical groupings called synods in the church-wide organization. Here in Central States, we're home to 175 congregations and 3 campus ministries. Members of those congregations and ministries gather each year as the Synod Assembly. We meet to conduct the business of the Synod, we act on the ministry spending plan for the year, and we're able to consider various resolutions that impact and guide our life as members of the body of Christ. And the Assembly also was designed to inform and inspire us to greater and deeper engagement with our mission as followers of Jesus. This year, our focus is congregational vitality, emphasizing that our vitality is generated by our connection to Christ.
My name is Keith Holy, and it's my pleasure to serve as one of our Bishop's Associates. Several of us now are going to talk to you about things that are going to happen at the Assembly, but I want to talk to you first about something that's going to happen before the Assembly. Somewhere around the middle of May, a Preassembly binder and guidebook will be made available to you. In the first section of these materials, you'll find, among other things, a tentative Assembly agenda, a list of special guests and presenters at the Assembly, and a report from our bishop. You'll also find general information about the Assembly and the hotel where we will hold it. In the sections that follow, you will find several reports that will be good for you to read through before attending the Assembly. One of these reports will be from the Synod's nominating committee. Earlier this year, this committee worked with area ministries to lift up names of people who would be willing to serve as Synod Council officers, Synod Council members, and as members of several synodical committees. Their names are listed in this report. Brief biographies are also provided for each nominee. Now, you'll be able to make further nominations to these positions during the Assembly itself, and there's a nomination form provided in this section of the report for you to use at that time. In other sections are this year's ELCA Churchwide Report, a report from the Synod's Resolutions Committee, and finally there is a section with information on the process of the election of a bishop, which will be a major item of business before us during this Assembly.
I'm Susan Candia, one of the Bishop's Associates. I'm here to tell you a little bit about what you can expect when you come to the Assembly. At the Assembly, think of it in terms of a congregational meeting. It is our annual meeting where, yes, we have some business to cover. We have some decisions to make, we have some votes to take. This year, we will be electing all 4 officers of our Synod Council, which is similar to a church council. The primary officer, the actual president of the Synod, is a bishop. This year we will be electing a new bishop as Roger Gustafson, our current bishop, is retiring. There's a whole process for that election. You will find more information on the website. We are also electing a vice president, secretary, and treasurer, plus additional Synod Council members, as well as members for the Discipline and Consultation Committee. In addition to electing officers for the Synod Council and the various Synod committees, we will also be making decisions regarding the budget. We will have a recommended budget that will be presented and voted on, and we will be approving compensation guidelines. These come to the floor of the Assembly every year. These are the guidelines that help congregations and rostered ministers determine fair salaries and benefits as we work together in partnership.
There are multiple opportunities to learn at this Assembly. We're really pleased to bring some faith practices to the Assembly. We'll be leading some faith practices from the front of the room. We've also put together a spiritual practice resource which will be on the website, and we'll be able to hand some out to you. We want people to really engage with the idea of taking some faith practices back to your congregations. So we'll have the opportunity to learn about those and to engage in faith practices during the Assembly. Our keynote speaker for this assembly is Dr. Rich Melheim. Rich, you may know, is the founder of Faith Incubators and Faith 5. We have congregations in our synod that use Faith 5. Rich will be here to talk to us about how to incorporate the whole human family into our life together as church, and I think you'll really enjoy him. He's also bringing us a mural project that everyone can participate in. Our church-wide representative is Bill Horn. Bill is the city manager of Clearwater, Florida, where he oversees over 1,700 employees and a budget of $441 million. He is the vice president of the ELCA, having served also on the ELCA Church Council and in various capacities in his synod. We're very lucky to have Bill to oversee our bishop's election and to be our church-wide, ELCA church-wide representative.
We are also people of God who gather as the church in this place. So we begin the assembly with worship, centering ourselves in praising God, and we end the assembly with worship. Throughout the assembly, there will be opportunities for morning praise, for music, to hear the spoken word, because what we do is always grounded in God's word, centered in our relationship with God.
Hi, I'm Sandy Van Tile. You see me at registration every year, and we're getting ready for another Synod Assembly. First of all voting members are asked to register at the Quail Creek Ballrooms on the west side of the Assembly Hall. Come in when you get to the assembly and register with two of the people that are checking folks in. We'll have two separate sections, one for ordained ministers, one for lay people, and then you'll receive your registration packet. This is to help registration go more smoothly for the election. Register early. Churchwide recommends that all registration be closed 1/2 hour prior to the plenary sessions. So we want to make sure everybody has a chance to vote. Please come as early as you can and register. We will close 1/2 hour before each plenary session. Once the vote is taken, we'll open back up so that you have a chance to vote for the next plenary session. One of the things to remember is if your congregation is sending somebody and for whatever reason they cannot make it to assembly, please let us know 1 week before the assembly and we can trade out for the substitute. We will not be able to do that at the assembly proper. Other than that, most of the things are like we do them every year. You come, you register, you get your voting packet. Once you go into the assembly hall, sit down at a table, they're all numbered, and the floors team will assign you a sticker for that table so that you will sit at the same table for every plenary session. That way you'll know who's working with you on floors and they will know who you are. We're doing all of this so that the voting process is as smooth as possible, and I look forward to seeing all of you at this year's Synod Assembly.
On the Friday of the Assembly, we will hold working lunches providing opportunities for hearings and conversations on the following items: the 2020 budget, any resolutions to come before the Assembly, and the 2020 compensation guidelines. Locations for these working lunches will be provided to you at registration.
The voting process is fairly simple and also a bit intricate. This year we're using electronic voting machines from Quizdom. You will get your electronic voting machine at your table. You will only have the machine at the table, and only voting members are allowed to handle the machines. When you come into the assembly hall, you'll want to make sure that you are displaying your name tag. If you're a voting member, your name tag will be clearly marked that you're a voting member. During the plenary session, we will clear the floor of all but voting members, so only voting members are allowed at the tables during plenary. You'll want to make sure, please, that you have your name tag on. In addition, please make sure that you are registered at least 30 minutes before a vote, or you will not be able to vote. Our credentials require that we have everyone gathered by 30 minutes before a vote. So please come in and register as soon as you can and make sure that you've got your name tag on and that you're seated at the correct table. We're going to stay at the same tables throughout this assembly so that we make sure that the votes go off without a hitch and we don't have to redo anything. If we have an issue with the voting machines, which usually doesn't happen, but we need to be prepared. If we have an issue with the voting machines, we will go to a ballot system. We have ballots printed for every election that we're holding. You'll get a packet of ballots that look something like this, and everyone will be able to fill out a ballot. They'll be collected by the floors team. On other matters, we may use voting cards. You will get in your packet when you arrive a green card, a red card, a white card. These we can use for voting. The green card obviously is yes, the red card is no, the white card, it means I abstain. We also use these cards when you come to the floor. If you come to the floor to speak to an issue or for a candidate, you'll raise your green card. If you come to the floor to speak against whatever's on the floor, you'll raise your red card. And the white card is used for a lot of things, points of order and questions for the chair. So the white card is basically what you will hold up if you have a question about procedure, a question for the parliamentarian, a question for the chair, or you want to raise a point of order.
Once recognized by the chair, state your name and the congregation or ministry site from which you come. Then state your position on the issue before the assembly. Please be brief and to the point during your time at the microphone. There may well be times when the chair will limit times at the microphone, and that will be noted at that time in the assembly. Generally speaking, the chair will rotate discussion between the three microphones. If you are going to make a point of order, which means you have noticed a violation of the rules, you do not need to be recognized by the chair when you go to the microphone. Simply take your white card, go to any microphone on the floor, and announce that you are making a point of order. The chair will then ask you to make your point.
The assembly is governed by Robert's Rules of Order, which allows us to run a well-ordered assembly. In your voter packet, you have a sheet that looks like this. This is the cheat sheet for Robert's Rules. It lists a whole host of possible reasons that you might want to rise to do something on the floor, and walks you through how to do that.
If anything gets confusing, you can always seek out one of us, or you can go to the microphone. You will have a nifty white card and you can ask a question. We want you to be able to fully participate.
A tremendous amount of work goes into planning and conducting every Synod Assembly, and here in Central States, our chief planner and conductor is Synod Administrator Dawn Bockelman.
Planning the Synod Assembly is a huge task and involves many people. Each year, a team of 10 to 12 volunteers from the Synod Council, local congregations, and ministry partners are recruited to be a part of the local planning team. These volunteers meet frequently with the Synod staff to develop a plan of execution for each assembly. There are many details to cover, and it's most certainly a team effort. In the display table area, there are many vendors who represent our ministry partners and special ministries of the Synod. This includes seminaries and lay schools, which provide the many educational and professional growth opportunities. This year, there will be over 30 display tables for you to check out. We are very grateful for our Synod Assembly sponsors, who help offset some of the cost of the Synod Assembly. These sponsors are Mission Investment Fund, Lutheran Plan Giving and ELCA Foundation, Wartburg Seminary, and Lutheran School of Theology at Chicago. We are very thankful for their generosity and partnership. A special committee this year is the Bishop Selection Task Force. The ELCA staff in Chicago has provided much direction and guidance on this process. In May, you will receive a variety of notifications and emails regarding the Synod Assembly and the bishop election procedures. Please read through all the assembly emails and attached materials so you are fully prepared. Especially look over the proper voting procedures or plan to attend the new voting member orientation on Thursday afternoon, just prior to the assembly.